Big Brother, how much further do we have to walk?
What do you think, Eri?
Just through here is the clearing I was looking for. See those old tree stumps?
The canopy is thinner and the trees are smaller in this part of the forest. All we need now is for those clouds to roll past and it'll be a perfect night for stargazing.
Big brother, how long till the clouds are gone? I don't want to wait.
Hey, no complaining. You're lucky Mom even gave you permission to come with us this late.
Perhaps you would like to hear a story to pass the time.
Not another story from that creepy book of yours. They're always so strange.
The best stories often are.
Oh, please read us a story, big sister.
Yeah.
Oh, Eri, please.
Let me think. I know just the one to tell. Long ago, there was a young Dracovan girl just like you or me, who loved to wander out into the forest despite her mother's warnings. She was shy and had very few friends. But being out in the woods among the birds and animals always made her feel safe and happy. She would leap from branch to branch, hide in the ferns, wade in the shallow creeks, and dig for bugs in the rotting woody tree trunks. One day, she wandered even further into the forest than she ever had before. The owls hooted to herald the fast-approaching hour of twilight. She knew that her village had forbid going out at night, and she was just turning to return home when she heard what sounded like the tinkling of bells. She searched from branch to branch, beneath the ferns, in the shallow creeks, and the rotting woody debris, until finally she found the source of the sound. An enormous, golden, shining pine cone hung high up in the branches. It was beautiful, like nothing she had ever seen, but something about it also strangely unsettled her in a way she could not describe. Moths are usually drawn to lights, but she noticed how all the other creatures avoided the glowing pine cones. However, she was a curious girl, and strange as they seemed, she was drawn to them. When she saw the first pine cone, she was surprised to see another, and then another, and another. Deeper into the forest, they seemed to light a pathway. She checked the sky and saw the moon starting to peek through the clouds. She had stayed out too late already, and she knew that even if she hurried back immediately, she would not make it home quickly enough to avoid a firm scolding. So instead, she committed to her little adventure and followed the pine cones, not knowing there were reasons why her people were forbidden to wander the forest at night. Deeper and deeper into the forest she crept as the shadows lengthened. Before long, only the pools of light casted by the pine cones and the pale, pallid moonlight lit her way. She heard creatures rustle in the shadows and saw movements in the darkness, but nothing approached her or the strange glowing pine cones. Suddenly, she heard a noise behind her and turned to see a single red eye peering back at her from the shadows. Even among the shadows, the darkness that surrounded this glowing red eye was the blackest black she had ever seen. It was not merely an absence of light, but a bottomless darkness that snuffed out all other light. The sound of creaking branches and a low howl filled her head as the young girl turned and ran. She whipped through the woods, ducking under branches and leaping over ditches. The wind battered her, but she barreled forward without even looking back. Finally, the trail led her to an enormous tree. The tree was as tall and thick as any other trees in the deep forest, but instead of the usual striking red color, its bark was gray and pock-marked. Its branches sagged, and in the center of its trunks was a gaping scar, big enough for even an adult to easily walk into. Without even thinking, she darted forward and entered the massive tree. In darkness, she inched forward. It was black as the moonless night for a few steps until her eyes adjusted enough to see a faint glow before her. She glanced behind her and saw the swirling darkness had blocked her escape. Taking a deep breath, the girl stepped forward and ventured deeper into the tree itself. She soon realized that her path was leading her downward and in a curve, like a spiral staircase plunging deep into the earth. As she ventured deeper and deeper, she saw more glowing pine cones peeking out of the dirt. The muddy orange light they cast illuminated the passage enough for her to see that the walls, the roof, and the floor were all latticed with the gnarled roots of the tree. And through those roots she could hear a faint voice that creaked like branches and whispered like the wind.
My child,
The voice said.
I'm the tree that sits atop this ground. I have stood in this forest long and seen many things. I have seen my brothers and sisters grow to cover this land. I have seen many creatures come and go. I have even seen the weathering of stone to sand in the creek beds. However, I fear all things must someday fade away. The fingers of time have invested me. Age crawls within me like a worm, and I fear my time is nearing its end.
What can I do to help you? Are you in pain? Asked the girl, and she meant it, for she truly loved the forest.
Deep in the heart of my roots, you'll find a book. It is bound with strings of hot guts. Its cover is made from tank squirrel leather. Its ink is made from black raven tears. And its paper is made from my own flesh. This book holds with it all I've seen. All the stories I have heard on the breeze, and all the songs of birds, secrets and wisdoms of bugs and bees. I would like you could have this, so that my knowledge will not fade as I will. However, you must hurry, for I feel myself, even now, slipping away.
The girl's sympathies were pushed down as she was flooded with excitement. The prospect of having this priceless treasure to herself, to be trusted with this responsibility, to know things that not even her parents knew. Deeper and deeper into the earth she went, even forgetting the darkness that had chased her outside. As she rushed forward, the hanging roots lashed her face. Their snagging tendrils clawed her skin, down and down and down until finally the girl grew too tired to run anymore. It was then, deep within the earth, that she took pause. She had been lured by shiny pine cones, chased by a shadow, and coaxed by a voice claiming to be a tree, all so that she could end up here, deep underground, surrounded by roots. She lay there exhausted. How deep was she? She bled from many small cuts on her body. Was the light cast by the pine cones starting to dim? She had been too excited. She had moved too swiftly without thinking. Had the roof of this passageway always been this low? She was dizzy from the downward spiral. Were the roots starting to slither like snakes? She started to panic. Was it getting harder to breathe? She became dizzy. Were the roots moving, reaching, clawing towards her? The tree had beguiled the girl with a purpose. The winding cavern of roots had been leading her in circles to tire her out. The cutting roots had been draining her blood to make her weak, until finally she had no more strength within her. The roots reached for her, and as carefully as they could, cradled the girl. They rocked her gently and brushed her hair to calm her down, cooing softly in her ear. The voice of the tree told her everything was going to be okay, telling her to sleep and be at peace. The girl eventually calmed and sunk into a deep sleep. Then carefully, quickly, quietly and painlessly, the roots crushed her body as easily as snapping a twig. The bark sucked her blood, and the leaves took her skin. The roots carried her bones to the tree's heart, and there it held them close. It took the girl's name and etched it onto its own bark. And finally, it asked the other trees of the forest all they knew of the girl. All they had seen and heard as they had watched her over the years. And the tree wrote all this in its book so that the girl would never be forgotten. When she was alive, her name had been Corvi, and the trees would never forget it. They say that when the trees of this forest are nearing the end of their lifespans, the forest will work together to lure a child with shining pine cones and dark shadows to the heart of a dying tree. Deep among its roots, the trees would suck the life force and blood of their victims, and that is why their bark is so strikingly red. The long life of these mighty trees comes at a price. However, let us not forget that the trees are not wicked or evil. They only do what is needed for survival. Just as we eat fish and sometimes even squirrels in winter to survive. And who can say that we show more respect for our dinner than the trees do theirs? But be warned, children. Always think carefully. Don't venture off at night when Mother tells you not to. And don't follow mysterious pine cones.
That was kind of spooky.
I thought it was a good story. Is it real?
Who can really say?
But what about the book? I thought the tree's a book of ancient knowledge was just a trick it used to lure the girl down. But at the end you said the tree read about the girl in its book, so the book was real and not a trick?
Tricks and lies are like stories. The best ones have some truth to them.
And what if someone would actually find one of these books?
Well, I don't think the forest willingly gives such treasures away so easily. But who knows? It would take a particularly clever and lucky girl to get their hands on one.
But it is possible, right?
I don't know why you're asking me. After all, it's only a story. And look, the clouds have cleared. Don't forget, we came out here to stargaze. I wonder, what have the stars seen as well? What secrets do they hold? What forbidden knowledge?
Well, I think there are some things you're better off not knowing.
If there are, I would still like to find them.